This episode is all about the full moon in Libra on Wednesday, April 1st. And it's no April Fool's joke that this full moon brings the theme of restructuring with a hint of patience is a virtue. But it's not in the way that you think. This isn't your usual spiritual advice of wait for the universe to unfold or wait for nature to take its course. There is some heavy resistance within this restructuring process right now, and this episode goes into the detail of what that is for each sign. Welcome to the Horoscope Vault, a podcast that explores the world through the lens of astrology, with a view to supporting you through life's ups and downs and helping you make more confident decisions through each chapter. I'm Charlie, an associate member of the American Federation of Astrologers and astrology reader for radio's The Bob and Sherry Show. Listen on to find out why holding back from making changes right now is important, because yes, you're unsure, but it is only temporary. And once things resume to their normal program, some of the challenges still will be there with your long-term plans. It just requires you to address them directly. So it's not the most fun of full moons. Not that I've ever heard anyone say that the full moon is fun. It's beautiful, yes. It's mesmerizing, absolutely. But fun, I've never really heard that before. The situations and the energy and the environment and the developments, whatever you want to call the ambiance and the vibe surrounding a full moon, are usually quite heightened. And that's because a full moon is a culmination. The full moon has grown in its visibility to the most visible that it can be. It can't possibly become any more visible at this point. So full moon days, full moon experiences can coincide with everything being out in the open. It can be a time where things that weren't so clear are suddenly crystal. And all of that is standard. You more than likely know the drill with all of that, because most online astrology says the same thing. It says that the full moon is where things come to a head. But what is often missed is what the full moon moment is actually the culmination of. And so that's where we look at cycles and patterns. We say, well, if this is the final point of something, then when was the beginning? Full moons and new moons operate in two cycles. There's the cycle that occurs every 2 weeks, the new moon, 2 weeks later, a full moon, 2 weeks later, a new moon, 2 weeks later, a full moon. It's kind of part of a rolling lunar pattern, and it represents the short-term phase of a cycle. Then there's the longer cycle, and that's where each new moon begins a story that reaches its peak at the full moon that occurs 6 months later. And these 6-month cycles correlate to the signs. That's the thread that holds these bigger cycle stories together. So it's a new moon in a particular sign sets something in motion, and then the full moon in the same sign brings that situation to a peak 6 months later. So if we are looking at this full moon in Libra, we need to trace steps back roughly 6 months ago and find the new moon in the same sign of Libra, which happened back in Libra season. The date of this was October 21st, 2025. So your first piece of homework is to go through your text messages, your emails, your screenshots, and look back to October 21st-ish of 2025. See if you can identify a theme in your life at that time that is very similar to what's going on now. Because what was just beginning with the Libra new moon in October 2025 was maybe to do with overcoming some kind of adversity, maybe strengthening your sense of purpose, staying committed to something, even in the face of opposition to that something. So back in October of last year, there was a situation that you knew wasn't quite right. It felt slightly off, even if you couldn't fully explain why. And now you are much more aware of what is wrong. You're much more aware of the incorrectness, because the full moon is fully illuminated. It's showing you exactly how challenging something really is and may continue to be. So you see the problem, warts and all, or you see the situation for what it is, it's undesirable, it's opposing, it's obstructive in its state. It might even feel repulsive, and it might be an area of conflict. And this Libra full moon highlights that this situation requires you to hold back just a little bit longer, to hold back from making changes, because you do feel unsure about it all. But things will occur over the next 4 to 5 months that will show you the exact changes that need to be happening. Because you are absolutely correct in that something is uncomfortable, there is resistance, something is obnoxiously wrong, maybe even unfair. And unfair is a great word for the use of this Libra full moon, because it's suggesting that whatever the challenge is right now is not built on compromise. It is totally one-sided somehow, which makes the whole patience part frustrating, because essentially you know that A, this thing isn't right and you don't like it and it's not fair and it's not balanced. B, you know that change is pending because something like this cannot possibly continue this way for much longer. And you know that C, you don't want to be involved in this if this is how it's going to be. But the reality is any action you take now will be based on speculation, because while the full moon is confirming that this is a situation that will ultimately be resolved, the resolution occurs in the short-term window between now and the Libra new moon in October of 2026. And that's what allows the matter to unfold and develop and show you the specifics of what actually needs to be changed before you act. So what matters right now is taking a measured assessment of the opposing and conflicting forces to determine the right course of action. The situation is already clear that it's wrong, but what matters now is how you handle it. And you may think, well, how can the situation be clear, but I still need to assess the conflict? Like, if it's a problem, it's a problem. The reason is because knowing something is off isn't the same as knowing what to do about it. The imbalance is obvious, but the right response isn't always obvious. And that's where the next couple months of assessments come in. It's less about figuring out if something is wrong. It's more about figuring out what exactly is causing it, what your role is within it, what the other side is doing or expecting, and what actions will actually move things forward instead of making the situation worse. So clarity is in seeing the problem, and assessing is in choosing the right move within it. And all of this boils down to patience. Patience to wait just a couple more months and not take any action yet. Because by waiting for things to play out a little bit more, you are protecting a very valuable condition in your life. Something resource-based, something materially important that needs to be preserved. And for each sign, that looks very specific. For Aries, by being patient, you protect a partnership or a key relationship dynamic. By being patient, you allow a relationship to develop fully by not making any rash moves now. For Taurus, by being patient, you protect your work routine, your responsibilities, your physical and mental health. Gemini, by being patient and not making any moves yet, you protect your romance and any passion in life. So it may be a literal romance with a person or a passion project that's blooming. Cancer, by being patient, you protect your home base, your living situation, and your sense of security. Leo, by being patient, you protect a document or a contract and you keep it intact. You stop something being voided or removed. For Virgo, by being patient, you protect your income. For Libra, being patient protects your identity and your personal direction. In fact, being patient, you protect yourself. Scorpio, being patient, you protect your peace of mind and your stability. Sagittarius, by being patient, you protect your opportunities and your potential of large-scale future gains. Waiting is imperative now for you to have more later. Capricorn, by being patient, you protect your career, your reputation, your authority, your home life. Aquarius, by being patient, you protect your truth. You don't compromise yourself and give up your truth for somebody else's. And then Pisces, by being patient, you protect any possibility of someone else offering you help, because help is coming, but it's not visible yet. But if you move too quickly, you may miss out. So the main message is that despite something being clearly a problem or clearly in its ending phase, the end isn't quite here yet. This is a moment where giving into the rage or the annoyance of saying enough is enough isn't necessarily the right action to take, because while it may be observationally and even morally or ethically correct, acting out of impatient frustration would harm you yourself more than anything else in the long run. It won't teach anyone else any lessons, but it may hurt you. After a situation reaches a breaking point, it naturally deteriorates. We know this. However, in this particular situation, it is simply being restructured, and there will be a short-lived opportunity in between for you to enjoy the final moments of beneficial parts of something again, even if only for the next couple of months. This describes unexpected events coming up in the future nearer the new moon in October that alters your course for the better if you can be patient now and really wring out the last few enjoyable, beneficial parts of this thing before it's over. The correlating new moon on October 10th, 2026, when all of this will be clear and renewed, can describe an unexpected event that improves and changes your course for the better. Waiting, in this case, will eliminate any kind of doubt. It will eliminate anything blocking your path, and it will ensure perfected material manifestation in the correlated area of your life as per your sun and rising sign. So be patient, wait it out. Don't rage react to a single thing. I'll be back with another episode soon, and until then, bye.